And this is under review. Usually it's just myself, but I have Will Vogel here from, well, you know him from a lot of our shows here on the Sideline Sports, Basket Bros, which is what, Sunday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, I believe.
Yes.
And just a great show with him, Jacob Krishner, Jay Nelson, and of course, Dom DeRubis if he feels like showing up. There have been times where he hasn't.
Yes, exactly.
So, since he's obviously in Charlotte, I figured we'd talk about a little bit about the Charlotte Hornets. You guys have had a pretty busy off season. I mean, what did you guys do to keep the core of your team? I didn't really see a whole lot that you guys did in the off season and free agency, but it just seemed like you're just going to stand pat.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to stay pat. We did draft Mark Williams, a center, which we needed. I think he's a lot better than Plumley. He is a better rebounder, a better blocker, and a better scorer. And then we also drafted Bryce McGowan later in the draft, who I had to look up and do research on my own. And he's a good shooter. Do I think he'll make the roster? Probably not. I would say he's either going to be a two-way player or he's going to be just mainly a G League guy. And then we have the unfortunate circumstance, which is Miles Bridges getting arrested with domestic violence. And do I think he was a max player before this whole thing started? No. Did I think he deserved another contract with the Hornets? Yes, but no way he was a max player.
No, and I have a lot of thoughts about Mason Plumley. I saw him in Denver. Of course, he played with Nikola Jokic. I was never impressed with Mason Plumley. I don't know how you feel about him.
Not impressed.
Okay, so you have the same thoughts. He's just not an athletic center. I mean, he can score, but can't play defense. He's not athletic enough.
No, and also the thing with Miles Bridges is sure he came into the league known as a dunker, but then he finally developed a jump shot, a three-point shot. He could still drive, but I'm calling it right now, no one's going to sign him this year. I think he's going to be suspended the whole year.
I would assume with all the allegations. Actually, Couch Coach and I, which, Chris, who's a part of our NBA Carousel, I was on his show. We actually talked about that prior to me doing the Broncos preview, and we were just like, you guys sort of dodged the bullet there. You didn't pay him max money, so I think that
if we did, we'd be in a lot of trouble financially.
Yes, you would be, but at least you dodged that bullet. Now, you guys sort of have, I'm going to say sort of new head coach. He is a new head coach, but he was with you guys before in Steve Clifford. What did you think of, first Kenny Atkins was going to get the job? How did you feel about Kenny Atkins? And then he spurned you guys.
I like Kenny Atkins. He's a great assistant coach. He was with the Warriors. They've got a great assistant coaches on their staff. And he was decent in Brooklyn. He wasn't phenomenal, but I liked him. I thought he was a good coach, proved himself to try to get a job. And, he would help the good core of like LaMelo, Rozier, Cody Martin, and I think he would have been just fine as a coach for us.
I wasn't impressed with Kenny Atkinson. I mean, you look at the record, 118 and 190. That was with Brooklyn, of course. He didn't have a lot of talent.
Like I said, he wasn't good in Brooklyn. I like him as an assistant coach. But I liked him as an assistant coach for the Warriors because he had a lot of good players and he didn't have all the pressure. But when he was with Brooklyn, he didn't have the talent, like you said.
And then you look at it, and I've shared my thoughts on my show about why he stayed, and kind of made sense. You don't have the pressure of being a head coach. Plus, you have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, and assuming Jordan Poole stays there, I mean, you have talent there to repeat. But I honestly thought you guys should have gone with Mike D'Antoni. I like D'Antoni. I know he's a little bit older as a head coach. I get that. But I just felt like your run and gun his run and gun offense would actually help you guys. I don't know if he's there. He would have developed the team very well. But I just think his run and gun offense would have helped.
I actually kindly disagree. I don't like D'Antoni. I liked him in Phoenix. I like his offense. Our offense isn't the problem. Last year, we had a good offense. Our defense was miserable, though.
So okay? So you wanted a defensive coach. So what is Steve Clifford going to do? Because I thought it was a little bit of a weird hire by
I
the
didn't
Hornets.
I didn't like the hiring. He was with us before, don't get me wrong. He helped us go to the playoffs. But here's his records with the Hornets when he was there. 43 and 39, 4 games above 500. 33 and 49, 48 and 34, 36 and 46, and 36 and 46. Only 2 winning seasons, but I get it. Like I said, he led us to the playoffs, but I guess the reason we brought him in was he was a familiar face, but he's not the guy I wanted.
I completely understand where you're coming from. It's basically, well, you've watched our Cup show. It's basically how I feel about David Ross, a guy that was familiar with the organization and didn't really feel like they went out of their way. And of course, we know how that's going because you watch our show every week. By the way, that's Confidential, which is on the Sideline Sports Network on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Mountain Time and 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're going to move on to Kevin Durant. Where do you think he ends up? Because for me, I don't know where he's going to be happy.
I don't either, but I don't know. I've been leaning towards Miami where they trade a few first-round picks, Hero and Duncan Robinson. But the problem is you're getting rid of – I know KD's one of the best players in the world. Who knows how he's going to mesh with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. He may say after 1 year, oh, I want to leave again. I want to be gone. But the problem is Duncan Robinson and Hero are a lot younger, and they have a lot more years in the NBA remaining. Sure, I'm not saying they're going to be Kevin Durant type level, but you got 2 young stars. They've done wonders for your teams. Hero had a good rookie year. He had a sophomore slump, and then he picked it up again last year. Duncan Robinson is a really underrated three-point shooter who I like a lot and a team can use. So I don't really know. I agree 100%. Where is Kevin Durant going to go? We don't know. It's up in the air right now. Do I actually think Phoenix is going to go after him? I don't know. I feel like Phoenix would have to give up like 5 first-round picks and like Mikal Bridges and a bunch of other good role players, but I don't know. We'll just have to see.
I also thought Phoenix made a lot of sense because of what they have with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Of course, if you guys watch the NBA Carousel, I am also I was the rep for the Phoenix Suns the past 2 years. The thing that I don't like about that is, would you have to give up a Devin Booker? And I think if Devin Booker's in any trade talks,
you do.
Yeah, I don't think that the Suns would go for that.
Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and a few first-round picks ain't enough. It's Booker, another role player, and a few first-round picks. You're not getting – sure, KD is a top 5 player in the world, and Booker's top 10, top 15, but you don't get rid of Booker. You don't get rid of Booker. I love how Booker plays.
I completely agree with you. And then my other thought was, would he want to go back to Golden State? Why would he want to go back to somewhere where he wasn't happy in the first place? I mean,
if you're Golden State, you had a great year out of Andrew Wiggins, who's younger than him. He has played. He was good. He was good on Minnesota, decent on Cleveland, and then he showed up, played great this whole year for Golden State. So Andrew Wiggins is probably thinking if he goes to Golden State, he's probably like, dude, what am I, chopped liver? I just had this great year for you guys, and you're just gonna go goodbye.
Well, exactly. And then one other place I thought about, but I don't know if it makes a whole lot of sense, is actually Portland, because of what they have with Damian Lillard. Plus, you just got Jeremy Grant, and then you have Kevin Durant. I know it doesn't seem like a fit, but I'm just thinking, if you want to build something, would you really want Kevin Durant there? It would make Damian Lillard happy, but I don't think that really improves their team that much.
It doesn't, because I've talked to on the Sip Off, which is on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 8:25 Eastern, Megan Price and Jahan Phillips show on Sideline Sports. And I said, they're a good young team. They got Lillard, they got Hart, they got Grant, they got a good young core, but they're a playing team at best.
Well, they are, and I know they're building something trying to build something special with Chauncey Billups. If anyone knows about Chauncey, I absolutely love him because he's from Denver. But
See you, Buff.
probably the best one we've ever had. Plus, I think they went to the second round when he was with us. Plus, he also played in Denver, and unfortunately, we went to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the LA Lakers. But that's a different story. I really want Chauncey to succeed there. We all do. I just don't know about the front office there. Are they really committed to building a championship team around Damian Lillard? So. Yeah, I completely agree.
I think ever since they got rid of McCollum, they were like, I'm sorry, guys. We're in full rebuild. We're going to build around Dame. And I'm like, I get it. Anthony Simons is coming into his own, but he ain't no Dame Lillard. He ain't no CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum is a great shooter, and Simons is good, but I would take CJ McCollum 10 times out of 10.
Oh, I completely agree. When I saw that, I was like, why are you getting rid of a great outside shooter? I mean, he definitely took the pressure off.
And CJ got along perfectly.
Exactly. So why would you want to get rid of that? I just don't think the front office really knows what they're doing at this point. I mean, great. I mean, Damian is a great, he's one of the top 10 shooters in the league, but you need someone around him. And I don't know if Jeremy Grant is really that answer.
I don't think he's the answer at all.
So then the $1 million question is, where is Kevin Durant going to go? And honestly, it just depends on what's going on with Brooklyn, because he's not happy there. But would he really want to, sit out a year? We've seen that. It hasn't happened. Hasn't happened in the NBA, but we see it constantly in the NFL. But
I think he's too good of a player to sit out a year. And plus, if he does stay with Brooklyn and he sits out a year, if he does, just saying and I love the guy, but look for Steve Nash to get fired.
That probably would make a lot of sense. And I know a lot of people in Brooklyn, or at least on Facebook, I should say, aren't happy with Steve Nash as a coach. And I think he's a great coach. I just think they need to build something there with Brooklyn, just because Brooklyn, I don't know what's going on with the...
Brooklyn wants to contend with New York. Like, the Knicks they were good, then they stopped being good, and now they're good again. And now Brooklyn wants to match and be like, hey, guess what? We can be the basketball mecca too.
And it's just not going to work there. It kind of reminds me of the Clippers and the Lakers. Lakers are the big brother, the big brother, and the Clippers are the little brother. So it kind
and then the sense. Clippers were good, and then they were even, and then the Lakers, and now the Lakers are a little bit above the Clippers. Am I going to say a lot? No, because the Lakers do have issues.
So we're going to stay with the Brooklyn Nets. Where in the world is Kyrie going to go? Is he going to stay? Because I've heard you think he's going to stay?
I think he's gone.
You think he's gone? Where would he go? I mean, I've heard LA, but the thing is LeBron and Kyrie have played together, but that didn't, it worked in Cleveland, but then there was rumors that Kyrie didn't want to play with LeBron. I mean, of course, we're talking 4 or 5 years ago, but still, where is he going to go?
I was going to say LA, but the problem is, what do you do with Westbrook? Do you demote Westbrook to the bench? You don't know. I don't know. I couldn't give you a destination where he would go, but he's gone. He's gone for sure.
I have to think, though, if Irving goes anywhere, you're right. I think if he goes to LA, Westbrook is out. Because, I've talked about this
easily.
When we had the NBA carousel.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, when we had the NBA carousel chat, I knew the moment that Westbrook came to LA, it was not going to work. I didn't expect them to not miss the playoffs.
Look how many turnovers this guy has every game. Everyone's like, oh my God, look at these. I remember I was at a Hornets game and they were poking fun at Harden. And the same could be said about Westbrook. They're like, oh my God. The Hornets announcer made me laugh. He's like, James Harden has a quadruple double, but with turnovers. That's almost Westbrook too.
I completely agree. But then again, he was basically their offense when LeBron and Anthony Davis were hurt. Of course, I don't expect them to be hurt this year, but it just seemed it was not a good fit. And of course, we know it ended up making Vogel, who ended up getting fired. They basically put it on him, and I don't think it was on him.
They completely blamed him. And I think it was a joke because I think he's a decently good coach. But you blame the guy just saying, "Oh yeah, this guy didn't perform and we signed him. It's your fault." It's not his fault. It's freaking ownership's fault.
I completely agree. When I look at a struggling team, I'm going to use, well, I could use the Lakers, but I'm going to use the Rockies as an example. I know it's Major League Baseball. I've always blamed the front office and the general manager. Bud Black's the manager, and unfortunately, he has a card that he's dealt, and unfortunately, it hasn't worked out.
And guess what? Ownership are the people who sign the players. Managers / coaches are the one who keyword manager manages men.
Exactly.
So they get an unfair. I don't know how to put it in card.
Blame.
Put it in card terms. They have been dealt a bad hand.
I agree, and the unfortunate part, and we both know this in sports, they're gonna blame the manager, the coach, even though that it is the front office's problem.
And then the front office is like, "Oh, don't blame us. Go downstairs. It's the guy down there." No, it's you up there. Like, take ownership. And if you made a bad decision, just say, "Oh, it was my bad. It was a mistake, and it won't happen again." Or, "We didn't know this was going to happen." Instead of being like, "Go to the guy downstairs. We're not available to talk right now. Do not disturb."
Right, I completely agree, and I've seen that so many times in sports.
It's disgusting.
It really is. When you have a struggling team, a struggling roster, what is the manager supposed to do? He's stuck with the team. He can't do a whole lot. But we all know that it's what have you done for me lately? And a lot of the times it's the manager's fault. We're going to stay with the NBA and go with Donovan Mitchell. This whole trade rumors, and I talked about this on my show yesterday. Why would the Jazz trade Donovan Mitchell? I don't understand it.
If I'm Donovan Mitchell, I still want to head out because that team is going to struggle this year. Sure, you got Mike Conley, you got him, you got a bunch of decent role players, but you lost Rudy Gobert, and I get it. They had friction. But that team's going to be mediocre at best. They're a play-in team or a low seed. So if I'm Donovan Mitchell, I leave.
I can see that, but I just think he's a superstar. I know he couldn't coexist with Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, I should say. Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert couldn't coexist. But I just think if you trade him, that signals you're totally in real rebuild mode. And I feel sorry for Will Hardy because he took the job thinking you're going to have a couple of superstars.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on Will Harding. But the problem is, who are your other scorers on that team? Oh, yeah, you got Mike Conley, but is he really a scorer? Not really. He's a good three-point shooter every so often, but that team is not going to be good.
So then the question is where does Donovan Mitchell end up? I talked about this on my show. It's either New York, Toronto, or at least these are rumored. I shouldn't say this is where it's going to end up. So it's Miami, Toronto, Brooklyn, which makes no sense. And I can't remember if there's a third team there. But
Knicks.
Oh, there you go. New York Knicks. You're right.
I think he goes to the Knicks. And I know you would probably have to give up a bunch of young talent, but maybe you can move like a Julius Randle, a few first-round picks. I wouldn't say get rid of Emmanuel quickly. Don't get rid of R.J. Barrett. Both those guys are good young. Maybe get rid of like Cam Reddish. Like maybe Cam Reddish, maybe like 2-3 first-round picks, and Julius Randle. Like I know Julius Randle's a decently good big man, and he helped you guys get some playoffs a few years ago. But I don't know how much longer he wants to stay there.
That's certainly true. And then I look at it this way too. Your shooting guard right now is Evan Fournier. Fournier, granted, I liked Evan Fournier when he played for Denver, but he's not a Donovan Mitchell. So there's the pros and cons there. You have a better shooter in.
And he was streaky with Boston last year.
That's true. He really was. So that being said, though, even if the New York Knicks get him, I do agree they're a playoff team. I just don't think they're a top 6 seed in that Eastern Conference because you still got Philadelphia, who's going to be good. Boston who's loading up again. I liked what they did in terms of getting Gallinari. Plus, you've got Toronto in the mix. I mean, Miami's going to be probably the number one seed there. So, I mean, would he really entertain going to the Eastern Conference? I could see that. I could see him going to the next, but you're right.
The problem is, I don't even know if there's any Western Conference teams in play.
I really don't think so, because if you just look at the top 4 seeds, Golden State, they don't need a Donovan Mitchell. The Nuggets certainly, I mean, I would take him, but we're going to be a healthy team with
you
Michael
have
Porter
Jamal
Jr.
Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back.
Dallas certainly doesn't need him. They've got
Memphis has a great young core already.
So it's like, where does he go in the Eastern or in the Western Conference? Kings, maybe, but I don't think the Kings want to spend that much money on him.
No.
It's just, you got to love trade rumors and what's going on.
You do.
With the NBA.
I literally do it all the time on my phone when I'm bored. I'm like, bro, I looked at Instagram. Let me look up NBA trade rumors.
I mean, it's very interesting. With the Avalanche, I'm a huge Colorado Avalanche fan. Of course, we won the Stanley Cup. I'm trying to figure out where Kadri's going to go, Nazem Kadri, and there's been nothing. It's been silent.
Yeah.
But let's switch over to baseball just to finish up here. I know you're a huge New York Yankees fan. You guys are playing great baseball. I mean, you didn't play that well against the Astros this week, but who cares? It's the All-Star. You just got back from the All-Star break, but you're still –
Judge had 2 home runs yesterday.
There you go. Aaron Judge, who is one of the better players in this. I think he's probably the best power hitter in the league, I'm going to say right now. I mean, you got a lot of other hitters, but the thing about the Yankees is you guys are going to probably win that division easily. You're what, up 6, 7, 8 games? You're up a lot. I mean, I was actually surprised because I thought it would be more competitive.
I did too. I thought the Rays were going to fight. I thought the Blue Jays were going to fight. I thought the Red Sox would put up at least a little bit of a fight. But man, it's weird. Like, I'm like, the Rays are always tough. The Rays have a Rosarina. They have Shane McClanahan, great pitching on that team, great, decent at bats. And then look at Toronto, good pitching. And then you got Bo Bichette, Vlad Jr. Jeez, those guys put up 27 against Boston last night. Like, I know Boston's struggling, but dude, 27 runs in one game, not 2 games, 1 game.
I know. I looked at a post. He's playmaker on the NFL carousel. He was like, "Can someone explain this?" I think it was 27 to.
It was 28 to 5 to end.
Right, but I'm trying to remember when he posted his post. I want to say it was in the 5th inning when it was like 20-something to 3 or 2 or whatever it was. And he says, well, can someone explain this? Well, what is there to explain? Boston obviously had bad pitching, not much defense. And Blue Jays were smacking
I think
the
they
ball.
allowed it inside the park home run, if I'm not wrong.
I don't know if
inside the park grand slam or whatever
they did. It was actually a guy from Colorado who we traded, Ramel Tapia. I don't know if you saw the replay, but
that guy's fast.
Oh, that's why I kind of miss his speed in Colorado. But if you look at the replay, the outfielder's going like this. Where's the ball? He never saw it. It went, I want to say it went into center field. He's just looking around, doesn't know where the ball was. By the time his other outfielder said, oh, there's the ball, Tapia, I want to say, was around already third heading for home, so you didn't have a shot.
I saw a funny clip, speaking of Fenway Park. I forgot what team it was. And he was like the radio announcer for a team. And the guy's like, it's a home run. And it like hits off the top of the monster. It wasn't even a home run. And the guy looks at it. I'm assuming the other guy looks at him and he's like, I'm sorry, it wasn't a home run. I'm sorry, guys. It was like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, you're a dummy.
Well, in terms of in his defense, I mean, that is a weird ballpark. I mean, you do have the monster, as they call it, the green monster out there. So it's just like,
that thing's huge. I've seen it in person. It's menacing.
Have you actually been to a game there, or did you do a tour?
No, I've been to a game there.
See, that's on my bucket list. I've only
I
done
need
a
to
tour.
go there. I could talk to you for hours of how many games I want to go. Like, I want to go to Wrigley. I want to go to There's
I
so
hear
many.
you. I definitely want to go to Boston and see a Red Sox game. I think that would be cool. I
Oh,
saw
they're
that tour. I'm like, I'm hooked. I mean, I'm sure it's the same environment as if you went to Wrigley Field, just sold
Oh yeah.
out.
Oh yeah. And as a Yankee fan, I don't like Yankee Stadium.
You don't like the new Yankee
I've
Stadium?
never been. I just hate how short our porch is. And we get crap for it all the time, but I hate how short it is. The right field porch is tiny.
They did do a weird job of making Yankee Stadium. I
I
will
miss
say that.
old Yankee Stadium. I went to one Yankee game in my life. I'm hoping to go to another in a year or two.
As both of us know, JB Ellis, who's our host on Confidential, is a huge Yankee fan. I think he said the same thing. He doesn't like Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium, but I can see both sides. I mean, you're used to, the tradition at old Yankee Stadium, which I saw the outside on a boat tour when I was in
Oh,
New York.
gorgeous.
It really was. And then if you look at new Yankee Stadium, it is different.
I highly recommend, Jordan, if you ever go to a stadium in New York, go to Citi Field. I've been twice. I love it there.
It seems like a really nice ballpark, but
I miss Shea Stadium, but the cool thing is they brought the apple from Shea Stadium.
And there's been a lot of players who've hit that apple. So speaking of, the Yankees, when does that Derek Jeter documentary come out?
It's dropped. 2 episodes have came out.
Have you watched a little of it?
I've watched all of it, and I can watch it over and over again. It's amazing. Have you seen it?
I haven't. I mean,
I know you're not a Jeter guy. You told me that. Dude, you have to. I'm sorry. Even if you're a Jeter hater, dude, it talks about first episode's childhood in his rookie year. Second episode is like a few years later where he meets A-Rod when A-Rod with the Mariners. Dude, you have to check it out.
I think
you'll gain respect for him. You'll gain respect for him.
I like Derek Jeter. I definitely think he's the best shortstop that's ever played the game. It's just the fact that he played for the Yankees. Let's go right there. I mean,
no, I understand. I understand 100%.
I mean, I'll never forget his last at bat as a New York Yankee where he won the game. I mean, I was cheering for him. That's how much I liked Derek Jeter and I respected him. But again, he's playing for New York or he played for New York. And don't get me wrong, you guys are doing it the right way. You're spending the money to make a championship team. I just feel like if he played on any other team, I might have more respect for that franchise. I have respect for Derek Jeter. But
no, I agree.
I just wish Major League Baseball, and I've heard this argument, that they would have a salary cap.
They need one. And I'm a Yankee fan, like you said. They need a salary cap. I was never a big George Steinbrenner fan either.
And that's the thing is I've always thought, if you have a salary cap, like, small market teams like the Oakland Athletics, even though they've done well, they just need, that so they can actually
contend.
Exactly. And I think they're last place right now. And then if you look at even, the Rockies, I always want them to spend the money. They don't. They spend it on the actual stadium. So if the salary cap was in place, I think that would actually help. Well, that does it for this episode of Under Review. Well, why don't you tell them where they can follow you and find you?
Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate it. Hopefully I can be on here again soon, maybe in a few weeks, talk about football. But yes, you can find me Monday nights on the NBA Carousel. Jordan's there too. That is hosted by Megan Price. Thursday nights, I am occasionally on the Sip Off, hosted by Megan Price and Jahan Phillips. Saturday nights, I am a frequent guest on the Gauntlet. I will be there tonight. That is with James Tatum, Dom DeRubis, JJ Jenkins, and Jay Nelson. And then Sunday night, I am one of the hosts of Basketball Bros. It's Dom DeRubis, Jacob Christner, and Jay Nelson and I.
Definitely check out the Basketball Bros. I was on there. I mean, it basically takes you back to your childhood almost. I really do appreciate you guys talking about, old-time basketball because I think it's lost.
This week's interesting. This week's topics are very interesting. I can really go through them real quick. We don't have our legend of the week, which we do normally, but the topics are, let me look, I wrote them down. Sorry, that's an old script. We got players who played other sports, could have played other sports professionally. And then what if MJ stayed in baseball? And then we have coaches that started off fast and then went down. And then we just need one. And I've yet to write my notes on that. And then we have a legend of the week that I'm still deciding, but I'm going to let someone else pick because I chose last week.
I definitely need to check that out because I was a huge Michael Jordan fan, and I know he played baseball. And I watched that documentary, and it basically said he could have played more baseball, which is interesting.
Yeah, and he could have been called up if he stayed. But the thing is also, one last thing before I leave is I tell people, and I'm going to start saying this at the end of the show, and if people want to reach out to us, like message us or some way to contact us, you can message us. This is my Facebook name. Then message us a topic and we'll mention you for the topic, or if you want to be a guest. And I will not be the only one who chooses if you can be on or not. I will have to talk with my other co-hosts.
And it's definitely worth being on because these guys know basketball. Yeah. I was lucky enough to be on once. Hopefully I'll get there again. I know you guys have a lot of guests to go through.
Oh, yeah. I'm still trying to we haven't had a guest in I think you were our last guest. I'm like, I was in our group chat. I'm like, come on, guys. We need one more guest. We haven't had a guest since Jordan.
So you can follow me at SportsScoop1 on Twitter. Of course, I have a blog that I write Mondays through Thursdays with podcasts on Fridays at sports-scoop.com. I'm on the NFL carousel, the NBA carousel once those are in season, and of course, Confidential. And please subscribe to our YouTube. We have some really great shows like Will mentioned, The Gauntlet, Basket Bros. Just please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of them. Well, that'll do it for us, and we'll see you next time.
Yep.